Hi, everybody, and welcome to Real Siblings.
I'm Leia,
And I'm LaVarro.
and today we are discussing one of my favorite films, The Hollywood Shuffle. But in a more, I guess, broad context, whether or not The Hollywood Shuffle and the issues presented in it. Sorry, my cat just jumped on me.
Was it a black cat?
Yeah,
That's a black cat. Yeah, she wanted it in the conversation.
exactly. Had some comments on, the
Hmm.
treatment of black actors and talent in Hollywood,
Yeah,
which
she
is what
jumped
the
on it.
film The Hollywood Shuffle is about. But ultimately, the issues that it presents in the commentary on Hollywood, we're talking about whether or not we think that will continue, especially in the light of the Black Lives Matter movement, how it's spread to basically, in all honesty, every sector um, of business, and then with the the industry sort of, I guess, shifting and changing things up now post COVID, or whenever it starts post COVID. Will we see any of those changes to be more inclusive and diverse? Well, will they even be there?
I hope, and this is just hope. I hope that it does change things. I hope that this new wave of consciousness like really resonates with the powers that be and helps to change the powers that be. Like I feel like it's actually surprisingly it is making some changes. Like there's new members of the academy that weren't members of the academy. They're thinking about implementing rules,
Yeah.
um, like a diversity rules to be eligible for the academy for an academy award, which is I think pretty big. Um,
Oh no, completely.
and so yeah, like and the I think the issue is going to be that white people aren't I feel like they're gonna lose their
Say it
positions
direct.
or whatever. Because there's
I
been a
mean,
couple of
yeah.
posts. There's been a couple of posts on like social media where people are looking for, um, like one post
Oh
was like,
yeah.
"Are there any black editors or black union editors?" I'm making a list, and it was this onslaught of white male editors who are
Mhm.
very upset and saying that this is illegal and blah 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 blah.
You can't do this. This is a lawsuit waiting to happen. I saw that. I saw those responses.
My point to those responses are when like it wasn't illegal when they looked to their left and their right and they only saw white people. It wasn't illegal then. It's only illegal when they feel like they're being challenged. And in reality, there's so much TV being made, there's so much film and television, there's so much happening that there
Yeah.
really is room for everybody. There really is.
I mean, there's always been room for everybody. It's just they weren't able to get in,
Right.
right? Like, this is just calling for chances for people who normally wouldn't get the chance to even be invited. Like, there's no guarantee somebody's going to be hired for the job, but they're saying, like, we should put forth this effort because,
For
like,
these
your white boys
opportunities.
club is only promoting other white boys.
Right.
So, like, why don't we open it up and make it a little bit more, you know, actually make it about the talent. Um, because if you think that you being white didn't play into you getting this, you think you really got this job just based on your talent, I'm gonna need you to sit with that and recognize that that's not true.
It's not.
Like, just accept it
No.
and then go from there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm, I too am a little bit hopeful.
I'm being cautiously hopeful because I've seen this picture before. I know what can happen, and I just don't want to get my
Right.
hopes up. I would love to be like, yeah, this is it,
Yeah.
but it's just hard to be there.
I think it's great for like the really young people who are just now getting into the industry and this is the first time they're really seeing this. But like as people who are like we're youngish, don't get me wrong. But like we've seen people be like Black Lives Matter and we've seen, everybody doing like the blackout on social media. Like we've been through this and calling people out and then we're back where we were. You know,
Hmm.
and nothing changes, or if it changes it's even worse than it was before. Like we've talked about how in the 90s there was this sort of like wave of black media both in the theaters and on television, and then it just stops, and for almost like a decade you just don't get anything, and people are like black people create, and we're like yeah we've been doing it, but for some reason there was just like this huge backlash, and so now we're just trying to get back to where we were in the 90s, which is ridiculous, and hopefully it'll be even better. But I don't know. Like, I want to be optimistic about it, but I'm not sure. And I also think that there's a difference between seeing the changes on the screen and then also seeing the changes behind the screen. Because I feel like a lot of times people don't think about what it means to have black talent behind the camera, like in roles like producer and editor and costume designer and hair and makeup. Like, they just don't think about that, but that makes such a difference in a production. They're just worried about the talent that you see on camera. And I'm like, right, but if you have black talent and all your writers are right, you're not really getting a black story. You're getting a white story as they imagine a black story to be, and then they're putting black actors in front of it to try and legitimize it. Like, you need everybody in the chain, you know, to be black. Not everybody has to be. I mean, that'd be wonderful. But you need that input on every level.
We just need, you know, a full integration in these different positions. Like, don't just have
exactly.
What you're saying is don't just have, you know, black actors and saying, oh, hey, don't let it just be a show, but let it be. Because I think there was this a Project Greenway when Matt Damon was like, the diversity needs to be in front of the camera, not necessarily behind the camera.
Yes.
I think I may be paraphrasing, but that was the gist of what he said.
Well, because also at the time he was talking to a black female filmmaker saying that, and people were like, "Did you? I'm sorry. Do you know a list of black female filmmakers who are getting up for Oscars and making crap films and then still getting funded? Like, if you know them, please let me know. I'll support." Right. But that's not what happens. Like for a female filmmaker, it's hard enough. For a black female filmmaker, right? Like, that's not even getting into like. I mean, it was very infuriating, and I was like, sit down, keep your ignorance in your corner, please.
Yeah, but I think, and to your point, to what you just said, that is, and it's an old Chris Rock joke, but that is when we know that things are equal. When black people can make bad movies and bad stuff and still get funding to make the next thing. That's because right now, like, we can do things, but it has to be the most exceptional thing done for a chance to be taken on it. But when we get to a point to where we can make just horrible stuff and it still goes in theaters and it fails and people don't like it, but we still get a chance to do another one, then that's when it's equal. Because there's, you know, The Best Man Holiday, it took them like 10 years for them to make a sequel to that movie.
Yeah.
And they were, some of the cast or the filmmakers behind it were saying that the reason why it took so long was because Hollywood didn't want to take a chance on making another one until they saw another successful black movie being made. They had nothing to do with their story or whatever. Like when Think Like a Man came out, it's like, oh, okay, people want to see black stuff now. So yeah, let's we can go ahead and make this movie.
Which is ridiculous. If you don't fund it, it can't be a success. And why should it have to be a success? How many shitty white rom-coms or family films have been released and we're just like, all right, put out another one. Mm-hmm. Like, and released with more marketing even behind it. Mm-hmm. Right? But like, yeah, one black film is supposed to speak for all black
of them,
media.
right? For all of black. That's so unfair that's the case, that one black film speaks for everybody.
Yeah. Like, it's also really tiring because it can be very stifling to creativity. That it, like, I remember when Ava DuVernay got A Wrinkle in Time, and people were like, oh, because the idea of like a black filmmaker doing a fantasy is so out there. And you sort of saw the same thing with Black Panther, but they're like, well, it's a comic book film, so maybe. But it was just this idea that like black filmmakers don't do fantasy or don't do sci-fi, and I'm just like, do you know nothing? Like
we do. We love we like that stuff too. We do. Like all of our movies aren't about what happens in the hood. Like we have way more, or love stories. Like we have way more stuff in the imaginations than, like, we like Star Wars too. Like we really do.
Well, yeah. Well, also I feel like if there's somebody who's gonna be like, I can imagine like shit being better in the future, it's black people. Like, if somebody's thinking about that on a regular basis, it is black people. Like, a better America is a black dream. Like, it's the same for other minorities, but it is definitely not a white dream. It's like, to say that we don't think about that or dream about that and therefore can't create media in that sphere is like inherently racist and condescending. Like, I want it to get better. I hope it gets better, but I also am very well aware of how far we have to go. Like, I think the shuffle will continue for a while. Even now, when I watch things and I see certain characters, like, CW is very big on being like, oh, we're so diverse now and everything, blah, 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 blah. But there are still certain, like, tropes that black characters face that other characters don't. And, like,
Like
little
what?
things like that.
Hmm.
Well, like, how, like, usually the black characters always have to struggle a little bit more. And these are usually, like, black female characters specifically. Or, like, there's always a racial issue, and not saying that race isn't there, but there are also other black struggles,
Hmm.
right? Like, besides just being black. One thing I really liked, if I don't know if you ever watched Cloak and Dagger, was
What's the
that
first episode?
Dagger. Okay, well, but I like the fact that, like, he was a young teenager, and yeah, race was obviously something he couldn't escape because you're black and you don't escape that, and he was being raised in New Orleans. But there were other things about, like, his relationship with his girlfriend, his relationship with his family. Like, there are other struggles outside of black pain
Hmm.
that we can talk about, and I would like to see more of that. Like, I want to see more black rom-coms. I want to just see, like, one reason, even though I did not care for A Wrinkle in Time that much as a film, I love the fact that it's just like this little black girl who goes on a journey with her brother to find her dad. Like, that was it. You
Yeah.
know, like,
I really wish that
race
movie
it.
was better than it was.
I do too. I do too. But I still went and supported and bought that $18+ ticket to
I know,
be
yeah,
like,
I
I
still went.
support.
I still went.
Right.
And saw it.
Because I want more stuff like that. Like, I want a fairy movie and the fairies are black. Like,
Mhm.
I'm just saying, and it's not about anything except fairies being in a field. I don't really know, but you get my point. Like, we deserve frivolity. Like, I
Me
want
too.
us to be frivolous and fluffy and people to be like, oh, that was a silly movie. And like, I want that, So I don't know when we're gonna get there, but yeah.
I've been reading some. Well, I started to read an Octavia Butler book.
What are you reading?
She's like going back in time a little bit.
Oh, yeah. She travels back in time to slave times, and she's a black woman.
Yeah. I stopped reading it because I don't really want to. At this point, I don't want to like read a slave story right now. But
Kindred,
that's what it's called. It's an engaging story. Like, it keeps you involved, and it's like I don't understand why we aren't making those movies. I know one of them. I think Ava's about to make one, or somebody is about to make one. I don't understand why those aren't being movies. And she has just as prolific as a writing career as like a Stephen King or somebody. So
completely. And she's been around longer.
yeah, so we should be making those movies.
I remember first finding out about Octavia Butler, but then she got more popular, obviously, after she died, because of course she did.
Mm-hmm.
And people were like, oh man, her stories are really good. And I was like, yeah, they always have been. But when, like, as a fan of sci-fi, I read a lot of sci-fi. But when people talk about, like, the sci-fi greats, her name rarely comes up. And I think it's strictly just because she is a black woman. There's no other reason not to include her, but they don't talk about her. Or like the idea of Afrofuturism, and like that has been around for forever. Once again, because if people want to think about a better future, it's black people. Like, it really is. Afrofuturism has been around since like the 60s and the 70s when it was really blowing up. And then we just sort of like forgot it existed as a genre. So like, I'm happy to see that again. I'm happy to I believe it's either Kindred or it's her Vampire Story Fledgling that is being adapted. I can't remember which one off the top of my head, but I'm happy to see that it's happening. Unfortunately, everything is on pause now due to COVID, but I think they're more likely to be like, okay, we need to push this forward. Her stuff is dark, but I mean, it can be really heavy. But I mean, whatever. All sci-fi is, and that doesn't mean that it shouldn't get made.
Yeah, it definitely should be made.
Yeah, we'll see. I want more adaptation of like black writers. I want more black sci-fi. I want more Afrofuturism. I want more Black Panther.
You've been waiting so. Black Panther came out in 2018. It was scheduled to come out now in 22. That's probably not going to happen now because of the state of the world.
Yeah.
We have to wait so long to get a sequel to this movie, and it pains me. a lot.
I mean, I agree. I think I'm also interested to see. I'm interested to see if everything that's happening changes the story, because I feel like when Black Panther came out, that message and like Killmonger, people were like, "Oh damn!" Like it was so strong and it was so unapologetically black, and I'm wondering how the next one is going to be and how it will be received. Or will people be like, or by the time the film comes out, are we going to be back in that, I'm tired of this, we've already talked about it, we fixed racism, are we going to be back, is that cycle going to continue? That's what happened.
Yeah,
you remember when Obama was first elected and people were like, oh no, we can't be racist anymore, we got a black president. And I'm like, really? Did you see the coverage of him and his family? But okay. Like, yeah. So are we gonna, by the time it comes out, because it's supposed to be Black Panther, then Ariel is black, and also the new Catwoman is black.
Oh, the new Catwoman is black?
Yeah. It's Zoe. What's her face?
Zoe. What's her face?
Seriously?
I don't know which Zoe. Oh, Zoe. The Kravitz.
Yes.
Okay, Zoe Kravitz. Okay. Oh, that's cool. And what movie though?
I don't know. DC doesn't know what they're doing. Did we not
right.
just do an entire video about that?
Yeah, okay. It could be any movie, really.
It's
maybe
some
Shazam.
movie.
Like, maybe the new Shazam movie she'll be.
Exactly. Okay. And they'll be like, Catwoman shows up. Right. Like, DC was like, we don't know. Truth be told, it probably would be better if they just, like, got a hat and picked characters and were like, that's a movie pairing now.
It should.
Because them trying to plan it is not working.
No. Yeah.
but yeah, so we'll see if it continues. I also would like diversity in for other racial groups too, because I also get really annoyed when they're like, well, we put a black character and then we don't need any other minority representation. Like, that makes up for everything, because then also the black character just becomes a token for like a stand-in for every other ethnicity, and like that's not the black struggle. The black struggle is the black struggle. The Asian struggle is the Asian struggle. The Latinx struggle is the Latinx struggle, right? So don't put a black character and be like, and that makes up for everybody else that we ignored. Like, no. Like, my black character is black, right? Like, now cast other people. Like, yeah. So I also don't want that to happen either. But we'll see.
We'll see.
I don't know. Part of the reason I'm sort of happy that Hollywood is having trouble and all the trades are so busy fighting about what to do when we get back is that it means that it gives independents a chance to establish our art in a new platform online and get our names and our ideas out there, which normally people wouldn't be quite so willing to watch something that was filmed online, but now they're like, let me try it.
Yep.
So like, if Big Hollywood wants to keep fighting, maybe us independents can get a chance to make a name for ourselves while they do.
And I think that's going to be the key to this. Like, if the independent people and our own people just creating our own stuff, not depending on the Hollywood system to work everything out. I think it's really going to depend. And honestly, it's really going to depend on us just making our own thing and making it happen for ourselves.
I agree.
So I'm excited for that. And as much as I love to see my movies be in theaters, if I can get my story told and shown to people on a streaming platform, I'm great with that too.
Yeah, I've already seen several Black independent web series have been sold to places like Amazon and Netflix, and I'm just hoping to see more and more of that. So, yeah, get it.
All right. Well, we're out of time. That is our show for today. Thank you for having this black talk with us.
That's right.
Real sibling black chat.
Real sibling black chat. If you have any thoughts on this, the Hollywood Shuffle, either the reality of working and living in it, or on the film itself, let us know. Reach out to us on Twitter at REELSIBLINGS to continue the conversation.
All right. Thanks for the chat, guys.
Bye.